Ooh, look at that good looking mailbox right there. Let me show you what I did. This thing, I noticed the other day that the paint was peeling and I could see some of the wood exposed. And so I decided it was time to freshen it up. First thing I did is I pried these numbers off. They got just little nails in them. So I got a little pry bar and pried those off very carefully. These are plastic and I recommend getting metal if you can, but plastic was kind of what was there, so I used that. I do recommend screws too instead of nails, so you can just unscrew them anytime you need to fix them up or whatever. And so I took them off and I found some spray paint that I had in the garage, and I thought it was going to be okay, and it looked fine in the daytime, but at night I noticed that my numbers were not as bright and reflective as my neighbor's numbers. So I went and got some Rust-Oleum Professional aluminum colored spray paint, and I think the original thing I used was one of those fancy craft type deals. It was like a satin brushed nickel or something like that, and it looked about the same color, but it just didn't shine like these. So anyway, paid the $8, got the paint, did the thing, and then I did that one day, kind of did that and tried to get it done in the morning or afternoon, I can't remember, but either before the mail ran in time to get them back on there so they'd have a chance of delivering the mail to the right spot, or I did it after the mail ran so I'd have time to let them dry for a little bit. But I didn't really have to let them dry all the way to get them back on there. And then I did all that before I painted the post. So what I did is I didn't nail them all the way back in like that. I left them hanging, just kind of pushed them in with my fingers so I could take them right back off, because I knew I was going to paint the post. The next thing I did though was I painted the box. So these have just some screws here, got 2 on this side and 2 on that side, and those heads there 1/4 inch, which was easy enough to deal with. And different mailbox posts are done a little bit differently, but on the bottom of this one you can see there's just 1, 2 pieces of wood that are kind of screwed to that, and so you can see where I actually missed a spot on the bottom of that one. It's the part nobody looks at, fortunately. So let's be honest though, nobody looks at any of this unless it looks bad, and I gotta say this one does not look bad, so nobody will notice it. But anyway, so yeah, on this one you just got these 2 pieces of wood that they're probably nailed, let's be honest, probably nailed down to this cross piece there, and then we've got those screws just go right into there from the sides, and then that mailbox just lifts right straight off the top of it, which is fine. So I took that off one day after the mail had already ran, and just used a can of black spray paint that I had in the garage. It was pretty rough. It didn't spray real good because I don't know how long. I hadn't bought spray paint in probably 15 years, so it was an old one. But I got it on there and let that dry. It dried pretty quick out in the sun, so that was good. And then I think the next day maybe I took it back off. I don't want to disrupt our mail flow. Got to get all them bills in on time. So next day I pulled the numbers and the box back off and painted the posts. And I tell you that the timing on the neighbor's yard getting mowed is just perfect. We're going to use this anyway if y'all can hear me still. So the thing about this post is you got to get the color that matches your neighbor. And I got some samples from Lowe's or whatever home improvement store, and then you know, went and compared them to the neighbors and got the one I thought looked closest. And I gotta tell you, I missed it by about 30 shades, but I tell you what, mine looks a lot better than theirs, so maybe I can get them to paint theirs sometime to match mine, you know. But anyway, I ended up getting the $80 gallon of paint, and you know, I don't know, it's a recognizable name brand of paint that I got, and you know, it's like the super duper extra rain repellent kind of stuff. And you can see here where it's rained a little bit this morning, and you know, it's just kind of sitting there on top, so it's not seeping in, which is good. But I just used a brush, about a 3 or 4 inch wide brush, and just a cheap one that I could find. And on these cracks and stuff, I wanted to get in there pretty good, and so I just kind of shoved the brush in, and you can see it kind of got in there okay. You really got to look at these edges around this notch, and it's really easy to get runs in there around those, and when you're kind of coming across this way, it's easy to get some buildup on the corners. But you know, it's kind of like, this isn't you know, art class, and you're not really trying to sell it, so, but you do want it to look good, you know. So the main reason I painted it was to preserve the wood, and because I don't want to have to replace the whole post, and so that's kind of what you do. But anyway, but you do want it to look good, and but you're painting wood that's cracked and split, and you know, it's going to be out here in the weather, and you're going to have to paint it again next year or the year after that or something. So ain't no sense in really trying to take 7 days to try to get it complete. So get you a brush and slap it on there thick, and you know, you still don't want runs, so don't put it on there too thick, but you don't have to put it on, you know, where you can see the old paint through your first coat. Slap it on there, and then, you know, you can always come back and brush it a little bit, you know, a few minutes after you get that coat on there. And I was thinking I would be able to see the brush strokes a little bit better than I can, but I can't really. So, you know, I went through there, and after it had dried for a few minutes, and went back over where I'd put a coat, and made sure that the brush strokes were all parallel and everything, and you can't really tell, and it's probably because I just put it on there so thick, and it spreads out, you know, a little bit after you put it on there, and that's good. So yeah, did the thing, and then, you know, let it dry a little while. It actually didn't take very long to dry, even though I put it on pretty thick. So you know, sun was beating down, and I guess the less humid it is, the less time it takes to dry. But yeah, it's pretty good. Didn't take very long at all. I will say I bought a gallon of this paint. Like I said, it cost me about $80, because I got, you know, I paid for all the features that they advertise and stuff. And but I poured about a pint of it into a little cup I use for painting, and that way if I spill my pint cup, I haven't spilled my whole gallon. And I do have to say that I did not use even a quarter of that pint on the whole post. So, but I have a gallon of that stuff, so as long as nobody complains about the actual color that it ended up being, you know, I should be good for at least 3 eternities on my mailbox post paint. So if you're buying paint just to do a single mailbox post like this, probably just go ahead and, I mean, you can get a quart, or if they'll sell you a pint, I mean, it's plenty. And I'm telling you, I put on there 1 coat I thought I was going to do 2, but you know what? It covered pretty well, and and honestly, I just got tired of standing out here painting. So I was satisfied with the way it was covering, and I just kind of stopped painting. But I could have put 2 coats on there and still wouldn't have used a pint of paint. So if you want to, if you're looking at like what the you're like, I don't really know what a pint is like, then you know, versus a quart versus a gallon. You know, you got like a gallon of milk, right? That's quite a bit of milk. And so if we think about how much we would drink, I mean, you don't want to drink your paint, obviously, but if you're thinking about these different quantities in terms of how much you would drink of something, you could think about maybe a gallon of milk. You wouldn't really drink a gallon of milk in one sitting, but if you think about a quart, I don't know if people get quarts of milk anymore, but you know, get it in a carton or whatever, or even a half gallon is what, how many, 4 quarts in a gallon, so 2 quarts is half a gallon. So you really wouldn't drink that. But you think about a pint is going to be, you know, if you have a real pub or bar, you're going to get a pint of beer. And I tell you, that's probably more beer than I should drink based on my tolerance levels. But, you know, think about a pint glass being what you would drink as far as beer goes. I didn't use even a quarter of that on this thing, so it's pretty wild. But you know, get you a pint or a quart of paint. Don't spend the money on full gallon. You know, and the other thing you got to consider is if you don't use it all, you got to store it. Well, or you can dispose of it, but you know, that's wasteful, and you got to store it, so it's going to sit there for a couple years, and then by the time you get around to using it again, you go shake it up and it's all bad and everything, so you got to buy it again. So you know, worst case, you end up going, you run out and you end up going and buying some more. And generally, if you're painting like a wall inside or something, you don't want to do that because they're not really going to get it exactly the same color. So if you're buying paint for something that really matters, you want to get enough on the first go, and then you know, say you're not buying 5 gallons of it, you're buying 1 gallon of it at a time. So maybe you need 2 or 3 gallons, so you get 3 1-gallon buckets. You don't want to paint with 1 gallon and then open up your 2nd gallon and then open up your 3rd gallon, because each of those is a separate mixing of the pigment, so they're not going to be exactly the same. So if you paint 1 wall or 1.5 walls with the 1st gallon, and then the rest of that half wall, and then another wall with the 2nd gallon, you might have a line in the middle of that 2nd wall that really has 2 different colors of paint on it. And so what you do in that case is you get you a bigger bucket, maybe a 5-gallon bucket, an empty one, and then you mix those different batches of paint in the bigger bucket, and then you can make sure that all of your paint in that one room is the same color. Well, I didn't have that problem here, but anyway, you want to make sure you got enough paint to do it and mix it all and blend it, and some people might say homogenize it so that it's all kind of the same. Now what I want to look at here is, you know, we beat the far out of these mailbox posts with our weed eater every time we weed eat. And if we're being honest, as a homeowner, if you weed eat yourself, well, you don't weed eat yourself, you weed eat your grass. But if you do all of your weed eating for yourself, then you're a little bit easier on your mailbox post and your downspouts and all these things with the string trimmer. But if you hire somebody to do it, not looking at you over there, bud, then the people you hire to do it are just very, very hard on your stuff, you know. They're there to get it done and get out of there and make a dollar, and you can't really blame them, because most homeowners don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. But you can see that, you know, this post is wearing down, and you know, I do my own weed eating, so I try not to hit it. You know, when I have the extra time, I got some little manual clippers. I'll just come clip around here. It don't take 3 minutes, and you save your post. You know, whether that's worth it to you or not, that's up to you. But what I did, and don't tell the EPA or anything, but I got a little bit of extra paint there to go down between the post and the ground there, and you know, I just put it on a little bit thick so it would run down, because you know that post is rotting down there in the ground. And so for that reason, I'm kind of a fan of you know, you put these posts in the ground with concrete, or if you do, I'm a fan of kind of coming up here with the concrete a little bit, you know, get you a square pad around your post, and then you know, you want to kind of slope it down so the water runs out. And you know, maybe or maybe not, I don't know if that'll help your post to last longer or not. It may just trap the water down there between the post and the concrete anyway, and it won't seep out as well as it will with if it's just dirt. But that's something to try next time you go to replace the post. But I did just want to show off my fancy dancy new paint job all around here. One of the things that I skipped, I was going to actually paint the flag, and it's aluminum, and the paint is actually pretty good on it, so I didn't touch that at all. But I did paint this part. It was clearly dry rotting and breaking down from all the UV and stuff. I didn't paint it very well. The color paint I had was not exactly the right color, and it's not the color that I would have wanted for my flag, so I'm glad I didn't try to touch the flag with my paint. But you know, it's one of those things. It's sometimes the best job is the job you don't do, so you gotta know when to cut off the scope of your project there. But anyway, there she is, and it's just another wonderful day out here. So there's my wonderful mailbox and posts and numbers paint job. Now I do want to say that I did go over the numbers. I did a little clear coat over those bad boys, and I don't know if this product works or not. Honestly, I didn't test it with and without this product on the numbers, but let me show you what this product is. And you know, excuse the mess here as we come in here. I got some new materials and toys and stuff, but we'll look at this product. Oh man, I'm knocking stuff off. We'll look at this product. This is and I'm not endorsing it, because like I said, I don't even know if it works, but reflective coating here. Now they've got it on, you know, the actual mailbox. For some reason, I don't need people to see my mailbox necessarily at night, but it's a clear coat that is apparently reflective. And like I said, I didn't test it before and after at nighttime, but that's what I ended up putting on there, just because I guess I needed to spend the money. But here's that color I put on there on the numbers, and I don't know, it's probably not worth it. Let me see if I can find the garbage that I put on the first time that wasn't really great. So I mean, it's not garbage, it just didn't work great for the numbers that I needed. So this is just a metallic satin nickel. You'd think it would have been a little bit more reflective and shiny than what it was, but you know, it's like you see these kind of tops and you're like, yeah, this is for arts and crafty kind of stuff or something. That's what I think anyway. But I'll stop rambling now, because that's really all I've got about my mailbox post, other than I really do hope that my neighbors decide to paint theirs the color of mine if they ever have to paint theirs again. So I'll leave you with that. Appreciate you watching.